Sex and happiness both enrich our lives, yet it's surprising how few people can honestly say that they enjoy regular and fulfilling sex or describe themselves and their lives as happy. Host Laurie Handlers helps you to experience real intimacy and happiness. You'll laugh a little, learn a little, and we hope put a smile on your face and a smile in your life. Now here's Laurie.
Hi everybody, this is Laurie Handlers, and you're listening to Sex and Happiness, a show about your sex and your happiness. I'm very excited today. First of all, I'm in London, and I'm in studio with my guest. I'm interviewing somebody who calls herself an Erotic Blueprint coach, and basically what she does is bring people back to their essence. She helps people release stuck trauma and feel their deepest essence again. And she coaches people in relationship and in intimacy. She helps couples who are in sexless marriages find their spark again. So, you know, I'm very excited by that. There's a lot of potential in that. And there's loads of couples who found each other a long time ago, and then over time they became so familiar with each other that they don't have a spark anymore. They become best friends, but they're not psyched to be with each other anymore. And so anyone that can help that and have success at that is exciting to me. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Juliette Karaman. And Juliette, thank you for being with me on Sex and Happiness today.
Hi, Laurie. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
It's exciting and wonderful to get the word spread about you and what you're doing. So tell me how you came to be who you are. Like, the way I look at it, when you were in high school or whatever it was, I don't think your guidance counselor thought you were going to be an erotic blueprint coach.
Definitely not. No. No. So I'm Dutch. I'm living in London. I have 4 kids. I was in, I thought, a pretty happy marriage. And then, at one point I turned around 40, and my husband said something to my son, and I just realized that I was so stuck, and I was so, I just felt like I wasn't free, and he was doing exactly the same. He was cramping us, and what he was doing, what he'd done to me during my marriage, or what I had allowed myself to become. Let's say it that way, because I'm always taking my own responsibility. I just didn't know what it was. But then I said, no, you're not going to tell him what to do. He came to you with this desire, and you just shut it down. So divorced my husband. We're on great terms. We actually love each other a lot. So it was really very conscious uncoupling there. And then I got into a relationship with a man who...
Wait, how long were you married for?
We were married for 17 years.
17 years. Okay.
4 children. So, but we shared custody. The kids were 1 week with him, 1 week with me. We've always made conscious decisions to be at their birthday parties together, to actually have lunch and dinner. But in the beginning, I think it was a bit less frequent, but now it's once a week we see each other, at least with the kids, and make sure that we're all together. And the kids are older. They're late teens and early 20s. So that's actually really beautiful to be able to be with someone that you really love, but you just realize marriage wasn't the right container for the two of us.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
You had some real experience with being with someone that you loved, but then it lost its spark and it lost its drive for you wanting to stay there.
It definitely lost its spark. And I think both of us didn't have the language in how to communicate this to each other. And it was more blame. And instead of really seeing, hey, what is it that we need here? How can we switch this back on? How can we know that there's such deep love, but there's something missing. There's that spark missing. So this, I think after that, I hadn't quite learned yet. So I went back into another relationship, and I gave all of myself, and, he had 3 children, I have 4. So we had like 7 children, 7 different holidays, 7 different schools to go to. It was like running an army. And at one point, I knew something didn't feel right. But I was just kind of like going at 100 miles an hour. And then at one point, my body just gave up. I started fainting. I've never been unhealthy in my life, but I passed out walking 2-3 meters. So it took me 9 months in and out of hospital to really figure out. The doctors didn't know what it was. And our relationship got worse. The kids, there was just a lot of pressure there, and we weren't actually seeing eye to eye. So then when that relationship ended, I found orgasmic meditation and really went deep into personal development, and found that actually the sexual energy is, the orgasm, the chi really is the life force in us. And when you try to contain that, and really by being super masculine and structured and not going for the more feminine, the flow, things like this happen. Your body actually says, hey, enough now.
I'm going to put you in the hospital.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, my kids and my then partner had to drive me everywhere, had to walk me. I was walking with a walking stick or with one of those rollers. It was crazy. I wasn't, yet 50. I was like 45, 43.
So you could seriously say that, it sounds like you could seriously say that finding orgasmic meditation, as people call it, oming, one taste, the organization, that helped change you into realizing that you're a woman, and that you had to start being in a flow rather than being super penetrative. When I know you, I feel like you're both. I feel like you're a really good balance of both. But
I think I am now, but before I was like, immediately, would take things in the hands and say, no, I'll do this and that. So I spent, I think, about 3 years just learning how to receive. And I was like, no, giving is much better. And then I actually realized with orgasmic meditation, with doing a lot of plant medicine, with going into Tantra and BDSM, that no, you have to learn how to receive as well. And to really get into that energetic flow where you can choose to be both, either or in both.
Yeah, I agree. The journey you're describing is not terribly unlike mine. Except I discovered the flow when I found Tantra.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't, for me, it really wasn't until I joined ISTA and the faculty of ISTA that I actually found people in men's bodies that were really there to protect me, like really there to serve me and protect me, like starting with someone we both love, Frank Mondoze.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Frank showed me that I could relax and that he would handle things. He would handle details. He would show us where to put the luggage. He would call the cab. He would do whatever. And it took me a while to stop struggling with him.
Right. It takes a while to actually not want to take charge, right? And then it's like,
exactly.
I can hand this over to someone else and they're doing a good job.
Exactly. So Frank was one of the first people that ever showed me that I could relax. And that spread, of course, into my personal life. But it really wasn't in ISTA where I felt like the men, my little girl felt safe to come out.
Yeah, beautiful.
With some men, and it happens with Omlapani too. So a lot of people that you and I know in common and that we love, they hold the masculine sometimes in a way that I don't have to do it, and I imagine that's the same for you.
That's absolutely it. And it took me a long time. I now have some very close male friends that, will just not let me do certain things. They're like, no, you sit back. This is, we got this handled. And it took such a long time to accept that. And, with having 4 kids, you kind of are constantly in doing mode. And then it was like, oh no, being is, much more important or, just as important, if not more important, and actually radiate that out. And since I've started doing that also, I've noticed how it's affected the kids, and that they don't come to me to fix everything anymore, where they've actually really taken a lot of responsibility themselves.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, that's so big, because people who are mothers feel like they have to do everything. And the kids, when they think their mother's going to do everything like that, the kids don't take on responsibility. I mean, you said your first sentence in the show so far, you said, well, I like to take self-responsibility. And thank you.
Yep.
Making that distinction. And guess what? Your kids need to learn that too, and they can't learn when you're doing everything for them.
Absolutely. My boys have just moved out, and they're in this great apartment in London. And yesterday, one of my sons, who's 20, called me and said, "Oh, Mommy, how does a boiler work?" And they've just moved out. So I said, "Okay, I'll come and try to see if I can get it working, because I'm in the neighborhood anyway, and I'd love to see you and have a cup of tea." And in the meantime, I said, "You're renting a place. Can't you just, call your landlady?" So he did that all. And he's like, "Oh, Mom, I've just made you a cup of tea, but come and hang out and then, see me for a little bit. You don't need to do the boiler." But it was like, great, they're actually just doing their own stuff. Sometimes I have to bite my tongue or actually stop myself from doing everything, because, we'd furnish their apartment and do everything in 2 seconds and it would look amazing. But it's like, no. This is their life. They have to. If they want to do this their way, that's perfectly fine too. That's great.
Oh, good. Well, you also, we're going to take a break in a moment, but you're in a new relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know how new it is, but you're in a relationship, and I met the person that you're in a relationship with. And how is it now? I mean, how do you navigate relationship?
Good question. Yeah, no, we've been almost 2 years now, and it's been really beautiful. And I've actually learned how to let go and let him hold me. The past 2 years have been really tough. My sister passed away. My father passed away in January, and then my mother committed euthanasia in July. So, to be with me during that time is pretty intense. And Alex was just wonderful, and he's really stepped up and where I needed to rage and cry and scream. And, he was there, and he's not trying to fix me. Because I think that was one of the things where the men that I was with would always try to fix me. It's like, I'm not broken. Just hold space for me. Be here for me. So yes, it's been wonderful.
Lost in your life.
Yeah, there's been a lot of. It's been very intense. It was beautiful to be there for each one when they passed over, and I was holding them in the room. Really, they looked to me for permission to go. All 3 of them asked, "Can I go now?" And I'm like, "Of course you can." So that's been really an intense period of my life, and where I've also learned to really allow all the grief to come through whenever it wants to. So I'll be in the middle of making love with Alex, and all of a sudden I start crying and snot flying everywhere, and he's like, "Oh, what did I do?" I'm like, "I know, it's grief. It's this energy coming through me. Just let it go." We've been on some wild rides like that.
It's so good though to just let it flow and to know, obviously to be self-aware enough to know, and to tell your partner, it's nothing you said, it's nothing you did. This is just what I'm feeling right now, and I feel intimate enough and open and vulnerable enough to just let it rip, let it go through.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to find out what this is that you do with other people. What do you do with couples that helps them get into a space that's in the flow, like the space that you're in? So if you just tuned in, you're listening to Sex and Happiness. I'm Laurie Handlers, and today I'm interviewing Juliette Karaman, and Juliette is talking about the changes that she's gone through to be able to coach people to their deepest essence, how to release stuck trauma, what their erotic blueprint is. She's coaching people, and we're going to find out what it is that she does, and then later in the show you'll find out how to get in touch with her. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you ever stop to think that love is your birthright? That you don't need to earn it or prove it? You just need to live it. I'm personally inviting you to the path of true love, power, and freedom. If you're ready to enliven your soul through conscious sexuality and dive deeply into profound ritual that frees your heart, I'm inviting you to join us for the spiritual sexual shamanic experience. This is better known to most of you as the ISTA Level 1 training. I am regularly leading these courses along with a team of accomplished facilitators all around the world. As a matter of fact, these trainings have taken place in 34 countries. For information on when I'm leading, go to butterflyworkshops.com. Or for a full schedule, you can go to schooloftemplearts.org. Please consider this invitation seriously because love and freedom are your natural state of being.
Are you wondering what book to read to jumpstart your life? Get the best from relationships? Attain the deepest feelings of intimacy? Do you want the best sex along with great happiness? Get your copy of Sex and Happiness, The Tantric Laws of Intimacy by Laurie Handlers right now. You'll learn how to make love in the unknown, take the performance anxiety and reaching a goal out of sex. You'll learn subtle ways of communication and really important practices to empower you in dealing with an intimate partner. You'll let go of blame and struggle. Doesn't this sound great? Sex and Happiness puts the innocence back into sex and gives Tantra the respect it deserves. Take charge of your life, physically, emotionally, and spiritually with Sex and Happiness by Laurie Handlers. Only $19.99 paperback and $14.99 ebook. Order your copy today by going to butterflyworkshops.com. That's butterflyworkshops.com for your copy of Sex and Happiness.
My question for people right now is if you're a woman who could use a little zest and zing in your arousal response, or maybe you know women or a woman who could use this, because many women say that their feelings of desire, arousal, and sexual satisfaction don't happen as naturally or as often as they'd like. So I want to tell you about Zestra, because Zestra was developed to meet this much-needed option for women. Zestra's safe and a patented blend of botanical oils and extracts, and it's created to help women have increased sexual sensations. Zestra comes in convenient single-dose personal packets. Each packet keeps the essential arousal oils and extracts free, fresh, and safe from light. And with application of Zestra, it starts to work within 3 to 5 minutes. And at about 10 minutes, there's something called the Zestra Rush. And that can last up to about 45 minutes. The great news is that Zestra can be used as frequently as you like during each sexual experience. Now, I'm somebody who believes that all women deserve sexual satisfaction. That's why I do this show, in case you hadn't noticed. So I believe that men and women deserve sexual satisfaction. So if you're a woman who isn't getting that kind of arousal response that you want, please call 877-426-8047. That's 877-426-8047. And please remember to say you heard about Zestra from Laurie Handlers on the Sex and Happiness Show.
We're back with Sex and Happiness, and again, I'm Laurie Handlers. I'm interviewing Juliette Karaman. And Juliette, I'm imagining that, you went through orgasmic meditation and Tantra and BDSM and some other things, and then you realized you had a knack for explaining this to people or for taking them through the similar processes that you had been through. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you do. Someone calls you and they're in a marriage and they're stuck. Do you see both people? Do you see one person? What do you do?
It kind of depends on who calls me. Often it's the woman who's stuck, and she'll call me and she says, I want to work on myself. And then, we start coaching, and I start helping her with what it is that she really wants to feel, and to really get in touch with her desires. And often it turns out that actually, in the marriage, they're not having a lot of intimacy. They're busy with the kids, or the kids have left now, and they've kind of gotten into this rut where, they see each other in the morning and they sleep in the same bed, kiss, and they do things together. But it's not like they really know what the other person really wants. They don't really remember anymore what it was like to hold hands, or to touch, or to have intimate sex and beautiful out of body experiences. They're just like, we might have sex once a month, or maybe not at all, or some people haven't had it in years. And so I'm kind of like a detective. I take both of them on. Often I'll I'll meet with them both either on Zoom or in person, and I meet with them separately first, and then really see what it is that they need. And then also I take them through something which is called the Erotic Blueprint program. I'm a certified coach, and this has been done by Jaya May. She discovered this, where we all have a blueprint, an energetic blueprint, a way into our sexuality. What is the way that we have the most pleasure in our sensuality? There's a test we can do online. There are a lot of things that will give me clues: how people talk, how they touch things. Do they like certain kinds of touch? So we go through this all, and then I will build a program, if they both want to do it, on how to actually expand once you find out if you are a sensual. First of all, there's energetic. Energetic blueprint is where you like very light touch or no touch at all. You are influenced by cell phones near you. You can feel that. You can feel the energy moving through your body. You feel it when you enter a room and people are angry, and all of a sudden you just feel this closeness in your own body. That's one of the blueprints. And there's sensual, and that's much more, you like silk fabrics, you like sensual touch. You're very much into smelling, into tasting food. But at the same time, you also have a shadow you could have, is like, when it comes to sex, lots of things come into my mind, and the room needs to be perfect, or what do I look like in this? Like, oh my God. So you have all these things come into your mind.
Oh my God.
I know. So there's 5 of these, and the next one is sexual, and there's kinky, and then there's shapeshifter. Shapeshifter is everything. So you have these 5 blueprints, and actually you just become a detective. It's like, okay, so this is my blueprint. And often the husband isn't the same blueprint. So they've been having sex, and they've been communicating, and they've actually lost that intimacy because they don't know how to communicate in that certain way. So I then set up explorations where they'll spend a day or a date night or day, actually really exploring which kind of touch the other partner likes. Mm. I will do one person first, and then the other person. So not the same day, because sometimes it just feels a bit like too much tit for tat. I'm like, oh, I like this, and he liked that, so I should like it too. And to see people relax, and to really be like new lovers again, like getting giddy. It's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I didn't know this about you. So that's super beautiful.
I'm going, okay, I want you to give me the test. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I want to know. I'm definitely not the first one, and I'm definitely not the second one. So I must be the third, fourth, or fifth. But I'm excited about knowing it. Now, this is kind of like the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's more in the sensuality. Like, it's not so much like, what love language am I acknowledging you in? But that's kind of good too. This is more like, how do I touch you?
Yeah, it's very much, how do I touch you? How do I speak to you? How do I create an environment that, that we can both relax into this and actually have, a beautiful, intimate time.
I love it.
I bring in other things as well because I do a lot of trauma release, which often when people are starting to build this intimate relationship back up, there'll be some triggers. There'll be something, there'll be an image, a thought, an emotion, or a body sensation of some instant in our life, which, we froze and we keep repeating it and we keep getting stuck in that loop. So, which then holds us back from really fully being ourselves. Right. With ourselves and with our lover. I mean, it's mostly for ourselves. So I take them through some trauma release exercises, which I've learned and which I'm certifying in as well. And it's so quick. I mean, I've done lots of modalities. I've done EFT and NLP and all kinds of things. But this one is so quick and so long lasting.
Oh, good. I mean, to me, that's probably the most important thing. That's what I see all the time in my work in ISTA and in my work outside of ISTA. People are stuck, frozen solid in their trauma.
Yeah.
And actually defending it. And, I mean, that's where I think that's where the whole Me Too, to me, that's where the whole hashtag Me Too movement comes from.
Absolutely. Yeah, and not being able to move past it because it's frozen in the body and in the mind and it just keeps reenacting it.
Yeah. So I love that you have some techniques where you untraumatize someone is in the couple. I mean, usually it's known to the other partner, but they don't know, they just tiptoe around it.
And it could be something as stupid as it doesn't need to be deep sexual trauma. I mean, obviously, very often that does come up, but we have traumas all the time. Just thoughts that we resend in our brain. It's like, oh, I didn't like the way that you held open the door for me, or you didn't, and then that will just sink in somewhere into our body and into our mind, and it's like, oh, well, we're going to blame him for that all the time. And this is like, okay, let's do a little process. Boom. Gone. And then afterwards it's like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah, that's amazing. So that's great. So you do that with them.
Yeah.
And you can do that over Zoom too?
I can actually, yes. I remember taking someone through a trauma release, a client who had some really deep trauma when she was 2. It started as early as a baby of 2. So to hold her through that and to take space, it was a little bit clunky because, we were on video together and she needed to do certain movements.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually have her shift that, it was incredible. And afterwards she's like, oh my God, why have I held on to this for so long? Mm-hmm. And it's completely changed her relationship with men. It's with her husband. It's completely changed her relationship to eating, to alcohol. And she says, I don't need these things to numb me anymore.
Wow. So,
yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I find that's people have these traumas, and I think it's like she held on to it for so long because it was unbeknownst to her. Like if somebody knows they have it, that's one thing, but traumas are usually in the shadow.
That's it. You don't find them until you go in and do some work. Yeah.
And someone's holding the space and can point it out to you. I mean, if we could all just do it by ourselves, that would be wonderful, but I don't think it happens like that. I mean, for me, like I knew when I started to do emotional release techniques that it was my responsibility to deal with my anger, and I didn't even know what caused my anger. And the truth is, I don't even know now. But I still did it because I didn't want to blame anyone or anything anymore. I just wanted to move on. And so I had to do it. So I did it myself. But for the most part, I think people need someone holding them to do it. I think you're right.
I think holding space for someone, especially in the beginning, is just so important. I mean, I use these techniques. I use like polarity techniques with my mother when she was dying, when she, going up to the euthanasia. I spent a lot of time with her the last few months, and the last not 10 days I was there with her, and every day I would work with her. And I tell her to, one of the polarities that we did was dying and being born. And then it takes a charge out of either of them. And, she goes into her essence. And at one point, you could just see her shine. And she's like, what is it that you do? I'm like, I'm not afraid anymore. I want this. And there was a tiny bit of fear, and that's gone too now.
Wow.
So it was deeply, deeply beautiful to be able to do that. And I think I've always somehow followed the path, and something has always come up to have me help other people. Like I did plant medicine, and then I did Toad, which kind of brought back my near-death experience, which I could then explain to my sister who was dying, and then explain to her what it feels like to die. Well, what it feels like to me to die. I mean, everyone's obviously different. But it's just been incredible, where it's like all these things have all of a sudden just shown up, and I've gone for them, and then someone has shown up that needed exactly that skill.
Yeah. Toad. So you did combo? Is that what you're talking about when you said you did Toad?
No, combo is no. This is the other one. Sacred Toad. Oh my God. I've just now completely blanked.
I heard about it. I just heard about it in Arizona.
Combo is a frog. The other one is bufo. That's, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
Smoke it, and
but a lot of my friends have been doing this Toad thing or some other frog thing in Arizona. But
there's the frog that you burn your skin, and it really cleanses you. And then there's the Toad, which is bufo, which you inhale, and it's like a 20, 30 second, and it's complete ego death. You become air, and you become everything except, and it's like going over.
Wow. Amazing. Very brave too.
Quite intense.
So would you say that mostly you do your sessions on Zoom, or people, or is it a combination?
I mostly do Zoom, and then if people do want to meet, we do VIP days. I travel the world a lot, so sometimes we'll meet wherever they are, or wherever I am. They fly into it. But I would say most of it is on Zoom. And then, of course, yes, if people do want to learn how to actually be hands-on, I can create VIP days or weekends.
Beautiful. Really beautiful. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to find out how to get in touch with you, who would call you, what kind of clarity do they need, this kind of thing, and any tips that you might have for people who finding themselves stuck.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So this is Laurie Handlers. This is Sex and Happiness, the show, and I'm interviewing Juliette Karaman, and we're really talking about, we're talking about a journey that Juliette had to go on in order to free herself, and where she is moving towards, and then where she's taking people who are following in her footsteps, people who are coming aware, coming awake, coming alive, and getting unstuck, especially in the area of relationships. So stay tuned. We're going to come back and we'll find out some tips, and we're going to find out how you can get in touch with Juliette. If all of a sudden you're listening to the show and you go like, I need that. because I need that. I need the erotic blueprint. I have to know. I know what I am, but I'm so curious now. And to me, it's more important than astrology. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
So many times you've heard Laurie talk about emotional release on this show. She says over and over again how important it is for you and your loved ones. Now you can do emotional release in the privacy of your own home. And you can practice Latihan too, meditation that prepares you for making love in the unknown. In her CD, Shamanic Release and Latihan, she creates a safe and sacred space in which you can do the powerful work Laurie is known for in her Butterfly Workshops courses. Laurie sets you up with the proper positioning and breathing. Then she guides you through each emotional state to the beat of tribal African rhythms. This CD actually provides an easy way to do emotional clearing work on a regular basis. Order your copy of Shamanic Release and Latihan today and watch your relationships walk free of emotional baggage. To order your copy, go to butterflyworkshops.com right now.
As a sex and happiness coach, I understand that increased sexual participation intensifies sexual responsiveness and desire, as well as overall health and well-being. My experience with the Sybian has personally increased my sexual response, and I can now train women to use this machine to have peak orgasms as often as possible. I strongly believe this will add to their health and well-being whether they have a partner or not. The beauty and the miracle of the human body is that it adapts and changes much more rapidly than people change their beliefs or their opinions. The Sybian can make any woman's body more resilient with each peak orgasm. Sybian is an amazing experience, often described as the Lamborghini of sex toys. If you're a woman and you can get yourself to look at Sybian, you should do so. It won't take away from your partner. It will only add. Trust me on this. I love my Sybian. Go to Sybian.com. That's SYBIAN.com, or call 1-800-253-6135. That's 800-253-6135. And say Laurie Handlers told you about Sybian. And by the way, if you do have a partner, ask about Venus for Men. That's Venus, Venus, for men.
This is Sex and Happiness, and today we're really talking about coaching, essence coaching, or sensuality coaching, or couples coaching. It's all kind of weaving itself in through Juliette, who's bringing light and new possibilities to bear in the area of relationships. So, Juliette, what kind of people should call you? Who should call you? When they notice what? What would be the tip?
I think when you notice that there's no joy, there's no spark in your life anymore, you're just kind of like on automatic pilot, going to work or dropping off the kids, or just doing your things, and then coming home at night, drinking a glass of wine and binging on Netflix or TV, and just kind of thinking, is this all there is to life? Yeah, people in relationships that absolutely adore each other, but just kind of think like, where has the intimacy gone? Where do we only talk about the children or the bills or, what needs to be done in the house? Where do we, blame each other for, oh, you haven't picked up the washing from the laundry like I asked you, or you didn't buy me the bottle of milk. And, and he's saying, well, why isn't dinner ready? Things like this where you're just cohabiting and you're not asking each other about, what is something, if money were no object, what would you be doing? Where would you be living?
Yeah,
Really?
what turns you on? What actually is sparking you?
Yeah, what is it? And where have we lost that joy? And, can you stop 10 minutes and whatever you're doing and actually just hold your partner and take him or her for a little dance and swirl around the room? And it's like, where do you forget doing this? And then when you start doing it, where does that bring you so much joy? You're like, oh my God, I can't believe we forgot to do stuff like this.
Yeah, it's so good. I call that hallway time when you
Right.
see each other and you don't have, I spent time with you today. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you were reading the paper at the, or you were reading something on the internet at breakfast, and I was doing my thing, and I spent time with you, but we didn't look at each other. Like, to me, that's hallway time.
Absolutely. Oh, and the devices that we have now. I mean, look at it. Classical thing. People go to bed in the same bed, turn off their lights, but, still quickly check something on their phone. It's like, where is that killing intimacy? Where is it killing the conversation? Just like, oh, yeah. How was your day today? It's like, oh no, quickly let's check Facebook or quickly put the alarm clock on. I tell people, take the phone out of the bedroom. Yeah. Get an alarm clock. It costs you no money whatsoever. It costs you less than a coffee does at Starbucks or whatever, one of the big chains. Get an alarm clock, leave the phone outside, and actually those last few minutes while you're going to sleep, maybe ask each other saying, hey, what is it that tell me what you love about me. Or tell me what you want more of. And I often have couples do dyads like that, tell me and then something. And then really go very deep, go each way for about 20 minutes or so they can really feel that the other person is holding space and that they can excavate what it is they actually want. Because often they don't know. It's like, oh, I don't know. I just know what I don't want.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that amazing?
Right? I think I was one of those. I'm like, oh, I don't know. When I was getting divorced, he's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, but I know what I don't want, and I don't want this. So my poor ex-husband, if I'd done a bit more personal development before then, who knows? Anyway, it's a way, it's a path that we have to go through, right?
It's a skill.
Yeah.
Actually. It's actually a skill to develop that which I do want versus that which I don't want. Like, I want this, I want this, I want this. We feel like, one, we're too selfish. One, it's too self-centered. One, it's too this, it's too that. Like, we were taught not to say what we want directly. So it's a huge skill to be able to say that to somebody and then actually have them get it and like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's a real skill to learn how to say no. And not to have to explain why no. We're so used to saying, oh, no, because this and that will make some little excuse. But to really check in with your body, do I want to do that or not? And then just no.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Really, really good stuff. So if people want to find you, I'm going to give your email address. Is that okay?
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's it. You're kind of in a bit of a transition right now where you're developing your new website.
That's correct. It's not ready yet. It will be.
A bit of a name change, too.
Yeah. It's darkobsidian.co.uk, but the website's not up yet. But it will be within a few weeks.
Darkobsidian.co.uk. Okay.
That's correct.
My listeners don't listen always exactly the week that my shows come out. Perfect. And sometimes they listen to shows again, so that's good. Let me give your email address. If you want to get in touch with Juliette, you can write to her at jckaraman, KARAMAN, @me.com. jckaraman, KARAMAN, @me.com. So if you want to make an appointment with Juliette, if you want to explore, if you hear this and you're going, I'm in one of those relationships, bloody hell, like I can't, I'm in one of those relationships until they just spoke about it, I didn't realize. Or maybe you did realize, but you've been in silent desperation. This would be a time for you to write her an email and just go, I heard this. I heard you speak with Laurie and I need to talk to you. And then Juliette will take it from there. She'll get back in touch with you and see if she can work with you. And maybe you're single and you're stuck. I mean, maybe you're not even in a relationship, but you recognize yourself from all the descriptions we just gave of the other relationships. So maybe you need to take this on yourself before you get into a new relationship, getting unstuck. That's what I would recommend. So, Juliette, do we have one tip maybe that we can give people? Like, should they look in the mirror or what?
Well, I would say really it all starts with loving yourself. And one of the things I actually did do was look at myself in the mirror and spend every day, saying, I love you. And it took me such a long time to really actually believe it. And then to look at myself and to really say, hey, I have the best interest for me, myself at heart. And then I started exploring what kind of touch I wanted. What do I like? It's like start becoming a detective a little bit. What do you like? What don't you like so much? Do you like soft touch? Do you like the way that fabric rubs against you? Do you can't wait to get naked because your skin just needs to breathe? But really start feeling into it. What kind of touch do I like to give myself? Stroking, more kneading, do I like a little spank on my leg or my bottom? It's all available.
Mm-hmm. It sure is, but you have to communicate. Someone can't guess all that.
That's correct. And we often don't know what we like until we start exploring.
We just hope for the best, and that's not hoping for the best. Doesn't really.
No, we always expect our partner to read our minds, like, oh, I want this and that, and often that mind keeps getting jumbled with different signals. So we don't know it. He or she obviously doesn't know it.
Exactly. Well, I love this. Thank you so much for coming on to Sex and Happiness today. I know that there are people that are my listeners that need this. This is. I'd like to feel like this was commonplace, that people just sought out somebody like you, and that they would stop living in silent desperation and start really living. And so that's what I see you as doing, contributing to the real living of people.
Thank you. It's been great being here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Juliette. Okay, so again, that's jckaraman@me.com.
And I also have an Instagram account, which is exactly the same, JC Karaman.
Okay, wonderful. So they can find you on Instagram. They can find you by emailing you. And soon, darkobsidian.co.uk will be the new website.
That's wonderful. Correct.
Wonderful. So everybody, please tune in next time when I'll have another amazing guest that will teach you about your sex and your happiness. Of course, they go together. And, I've proved my point over and over again that they go together. My guests come on and they talk about it. So here we are. We're sending you love, and I'm saying namaste for this time. I'll be back with you next time with another amazing guest. This is Laurie Handlers tuning out.
Thank you for joining us today for Sex and Happiness. To learn more about Laurie and her work, please go to butterflyworkshops.com or follow her on Twitter or Facebook. You can send her an email at sexandhappiness@gmail.com. We'll see you again right here next week for another edition of Sex and Happiness.